Martial art chuds. I'm sorry for any audio issues, but I'm currently in a bunker to protect myself from Israel's unjustified bombing against the great nation I call home. I'm actually a key figure in the Iranian military-industrial complex, and no, I will not elaborate. Let's talk video games. Remember when this was a gaming channel? Lol, Lamau even. It's no secret that I love video games, particularly more story-based games. Jarvis, pull up a 3x3 of my favorite games. Yeah, I've censored it. Maybe someday I'll show you the whole thing, but for now, just focus on Silent Hill 2. I'm a true Silent Hill patriot, who has a great affection for the good entries in the franchise, and I might be the only purist on earth who has any kind of optimism for Silent Hill F. Yes, the hit spot is bad, but guys, we're here for the story, and some of these monsters look scary. Give the nips a chance. Silent Hill 2 is my case study on why games are art for a very simple reason. A lot of your video game journalist art games are just movies like The Last of Us or a glorified book. I say this out of love, Planescape. Silent Hill 2 isn't like this. Silent Hill 2 in the form of a movie, which we're about to see, thanks Konami, and in the form of a book, which we've already seen, I hate you Konami, is an inferior means of telling the story of Silent Hill 2 and exploring its themes. Why? Because you don't control James in these mediums. The story of Silent Hill 2 is best expressed and can only be holistically expressed within the medium of the video game. First, here's a quick summary. Spoilers ahead, play the enhanced edition. Silent Hill 2 is about James Sunderland being tormented by his inner demons due to the guilt he feels for murdering his wife Mary via suffocation. James receives a letter from his dead wife, who may or may not be in the backseat of his car, telling him to come to their special place, Silent Hill. Arguably the worst relationship landmark to ever exist. In Silent Hill, James encounters primarily feminine monsters that represent different aspects of his relationship with Mary, his guilt, and his insecurities. The monsters are basically delusions that help James cope and ignore what he did to his wife. For example, the bubble-headed nurses, something that shouldn't have been included in any future Silent Hill game, but that's besides the point, represent James's trauma from Mary's time in the hospital. The nurses are constantly twitching and jittering, since they themselves are suffocating like Mary, and they're scantily clad, because while Mary was busy literally dying, she wasn't fulfilling her wifely duties. What a beautiful woman! The most recognizable monster from the game, Pyramid Head, is essentially the truth personified into an executioner. He is seen abusing and being freaky with James's delusions, and the only humanoid monster that presents as masculine. In my headcanon, beneath the pyramid on Pyramid Head is James. He is the one who needs to be punished, and so he does it to himself. The room where James fights two Pyramid Heads, who kill themselves upon victory, is a significant one because James confronts what he's done and the delusion is no longer necessary. That's why they appear to kill themselves. The game shows off these themes of grief in extremely creepy and well-designed environments, nerve-wracking sound effects, and beautiful music. It also includes lore-sensible combat. James is a clerk, okay? Fighting should feel weird and awkward. He's not Leon Skennedy, a literal special agent. Man, I hate the remake. The puzzles are of varying quality. Sometimes it's just basically a Zelda puzzle and boils down to get item, use item on thing, and then go to next room. And other times it's just completely schizo. Editing Ibby here. I forgot to mention Maria and Laura in my little synopsis, which is pretty bad since they're pretty important characters for the next section. Maria is a woman who looks exactly like Mary, with the addition of BPD and new clothes. Laura is a little girl who Mary was close to, who came back to Silent Hill to find her. And Mary wanted to adopt Laura when she got better, and that's kind of a big detail for later. If you haven't played this game, you really should, even though I've already spoiled it for you, my bad. Alright, I'll stop glazing. But I just adore this game, and you need to understand the total breadth of the theming and all the dedication and love that was poured into it.
None of what you've just said prove why this should be a video game over a movie or a book. This video sucks! In a minute!
Okay, so Silent Hill 2 has three main endings. There are some bonus endings, but they're jokes, so let's not worry about them. We have the in-water ending, the leave ending, and the Maria ending. In Water features James driving to the lake to commit suicide, since he can't live without Mary and needs to atone for what he's done to her through the means of an eye for an eye. The Leave ending features James choosing to leave Silent Hill with Laura, fulfilling Mary's desire to have a child. To atone for what he's done, James raises a girl and provides her a better life than she'd have otherwise. Given that she's a little girl abandoned in Silent Hill, James is probably doing her a big favour. James is, in a sense, saving Laura's life to make up for the one that he took. The Maria ending is where James decides to leave Silent Hill with Maria, a replacement for Mary. As they're leaving, Maria begins to cough, implying that she will face the same illness that Mary had. I interpret this ending to be that James is given a second chance to be with Mary and be a better person. Maria gets sick, and this time he doesn't, kill her. He proves that he's grown as a person and learned from his mistakes. He gets a chance to care for her again. Each of the main endings have the same same core theme. James is making up for what he did to his wife. The question is simply how. The game determines how James as a character would atone for his actions in a way that can only be achieved in a video game. The game uses you. Silent Hill 2 analyzes the way that you made James act through everyone's favourite thing, mathematics. I won't go into detail on how the game calculates it, but what you need to know is that if you keep your health low and deliberately look at disturbing things, James clearly doesn't value his life or his comfort very highly. So you get the in-water ending, because based on your actions in the game, this is what James would choose. If you keep his health high, don't pay much attention to Maria, and interact with certain key items like Mary's letter, you show that James does value his life, he values his relationship with Mary, and decides to fulfill her dream of raising a child. Finally, if you keep his health high, show affection to Maria, and visit her in the Lakeview Hospital, you'll achieve the Maria ending, since you've shown that James wants to live and that he cares for Maria, his new Mary. This is highly reactive storytelling. Your choices, when you're in control of James, directly determine how he as a character would choose to cope with his guilt. Doing this creates a high level of continuity with gameplay and story. If James loved Maria and made sure to take care of himself, it makes a lot less sense that he would choose to drown himself rather than live with this new Mary. This kind of thing simply can't be properly replicated in a movie and directly improves the artistry of the game. I think this is the best proof that video games are art, because this medium is the only way that this story can be properly conveyed. If you are not playing as James and determining his actions, you are experiencing an inferior version of the story of Silent Hill 2. In fact, I would argue it's an incomplete version of the story, sort of like playing the remake. Some of you may jump to choose your own adventure novels as another way to express this kind of story. I'll concede that it can be done that way, but it's not up for debate that video games are a far more engaging experience and generates a greater level of choice than a choose your own adventure novel, which elevates the experience and makes the video game a better way to express this kind of story. I view choose your own adventure novels to be a precursor to video games in the regard of giving the consumer of the story active participation in the story, sort of like how the Magic Lantern paved the way for film. So in summary, Silent Hill 2 is a highly artistic game with deep symbolism. The story can only be properly experienced in totality through the medium of the video game, therefore video games can be art. Bismillah homies, and remember not to die for Israel.